So, around the 1950s, there was a rebirth of studying the mind. Cognitive psychology was beginning to be formed, emphasizing greatly on the unseen, the internal process as it relates to response and behaviors, arguing the complexity within relationships between stimuli and responses. This deviation from behaviorism to cognitive approach was termed the cognitive revolution in psychology, resulting in a greater interest in development of research regarding key principles such as memory, language use, perception, attention, amongst other principles. Though it is a newer subfield of psychology in comparison to much of its earlier subfields, it's quickly gained popularity, becoming predominant in the 1950s and 70s. Noam Chomsky, a linguist from Massachusetts, provided a controversial review of Skinner's book Verbal Behavior, and as we know, Skinner was a behaviorist. So it's ironic that even through this own book, Chomsky should help or shed some light into the cognitive approaches. Skinner implied in this book that children imitate and repeat what they hear, and repeating corrected speech can be enforced through reward. Noam, however, states children will often say things such as "I love you" or "I hate you" without having been rewarded by their parents. Also, children go through normal periods of language development where they often use incorrect grammar, though it may have never been reinforced to begin with. The digital computer contributing somehow. Psychologists needed a new way to conceptualize mental processes. Took the development of the digital computer, technology that was just being introduced at this time. And just as a computer, info is received in by an input processor, storing it into the memory, then going through processing by arithmetic unit, and finally creating an output. This process would evoke what psychologists call the informational processing approach. Sequences of mental operations, connecting cognition, a series of stages, opening minds to ask new questions. And so here we have Cherry Collin, 1953. After presenting subjects to two audio messages, left and right ears, Collin told them to focus on one of the messages, which represented the attended message, while ignoring the other message, which was represented as the unattended message. What resulted? When people focused on the attended message, they can still hear the sound of the unattended message, but weren't able to determine what those messages were saying or what they were about. Then we have Donald Broadbent, 1958, proposing the first flow diagram of the mind. Following Cherry's results, input, filter, detector, memory, where input were the two auditory sounds, and the filter pushing through the attended message while filtering out the unattended message, and the detector registering the info pushed through the filter. Broadbent's diagram helps provide a way to analyze how the mind operates, taking sequence of processing stages into account. And these were all the contributions that were made in bringing back the study of the mind, cognitive psychology.